Good shepherds are a grace gift from God. Good shepherd leaders, wherever they're found, in homes, in churches, in government, in the workplace, when there are godly, Christ-like shepherd leaders in any of those contexts, there is also there are the fingerprints of God's grace all over the place. Which means, I said two, I'm going to give you three things. If that's true, and it is, basically, that's what God said. I will give you shepherds. I will set shepherds over you. And when God gives the shepherd, they're good, right? Every time that we've read, they're good. So good shepherds are a grace gift from God. So what? Number one, if you have godly shepherd leaders over you in any context, you need to thank God. Just thank God for His grace in your life. Number two, you need to pray for godly leadership and their growth in your life. Pray for grace to lead for them. Pray for grace that they will lead you like a shepherd, that they will lead you like Jesus. Pray for them, whoever they are. Young people, listen, you get frustrated with your parents, okay? That might have as much to do with your sin nature as it does with theirs, but they're sinners. Get frustrated with your parents? Pray for them. Pray for them, kids. Teenagers, do you pray for your parents, or do all you do ever gripe about them? Your parents aren't perfect, but I think at least the parents that are members of our church, I think they love you. Pray for them. Pray that God would give them grace, and through them give you godly shepherd leaders in your life. Wives should be praying for husbands. Church members should be praying for elders. We should all be praying for our government officials. I'm afraid there aren't very many shepherd leaders in our government. And we ought to be begging God for that kind of leadership, that kind of authority, shouldn't we? We should. Certainly we should. In the workplace, pray for that. And certainly, number three, good shepherds are a grace gift from God. So thank God when you have it. Pray for grace to those that are leading you. But number three, if you are a leader, if God has called you to a place of authority in the home, at work, in church, wherever, then pray for His grace to make you more and more like Jesus, to make you a shepherd in your exercise of authority. Good shepherds are a grace gift from God. Well, you might guess the second principle. Bad shepherds are a just response from God. Sometimes God gives us the shepherds we deserve. I realize that probably sounds harsh, and maybe there's some that would even say, I think I'm completely innocent. So what do we do if that would be the case? If somehow, some way, work or home, not church, if you're part of this church, but you say, I'm not seeing the kind of godly, Christ-like leadership that the Bible commends. Well, I would suggest to you two things. Number one, search your heart and repent of sin. I'm not trying to be like Job's friends to suggest that any trial in your life is always the result of personal sin, but it might be. And Jeremiah's call to the people of God is consistently that. And if you're still open there to Jeremiah 23 and verse 22, if they had stood in my counsel, then they would have proclaimed my words to my people, and they would have turned them from their evil way and from the evil of their deeds. There sometimes needs to be a turning. And it's possible that some would search their heart and say, I'm not sure, preacher, that there's any sin that needs to be repented of, and yet I'm in this trial, I'm in this situation where I've got in my home or again, wherever, and I'm just subjected to leadership, to shepherds that aren't shepherds, to leaders who aren't godly. And I don't think it's sin. What's your counsel? What's the biblical response to that? And it is to focus your attention and trust the one good and great shepherd. Even in the midst of your trials, say there's a wife here who's got an ungodly husband. Now, your husband may not be a good shepherd that's trying to care for you, but know this, God's sovereignty extends even to that particular trial, right? And Jesus is shepherding you through this trial. So when you can't look to your husband, or young people, when you can't look to godly parents, or if you're in, I hope another church, but if you're in a church where I can't look to godly leadership in the church, look to God and trust His sovereign hand and know that He is shepherding your heart and He is caring for you. He is seeking to feed you with knowledge and understanding. He is seeking to put your life on mission, and He is seeking to provide you the security that your husband or your parents or your leader never can.